Hello, this is tmnt here, and welcome back to a review on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles tmnt and Usagi Yojimbo when issue number 5. And yeah, so unfortunately this is the actual final issue for this whole mini-series, and I must admit overall, this issue I don't think was the best issue to end this series on, just because I do feel as though that this whole story was really rushed in certain aspects. And I do think that there was a lot to be, shown in this issue, and a lot more they could have done, but at the same time, it was like really held back in terms of what they wanted to do. So yeah, but I must admit, overall this series is also going to be something which I don't want to talk about as well in this video, just because, I don't know, I feel as though that this whole series has been quite interesting for quite a few reasons, but at the same time, there was definitely some areas which they definitely could have improved upon. So yeah. Okay, let's start the review off, and I'm going to be talking about all these scenes with Toami, Lord Naruki, and Jen, and I must admit these scenes were okay, I want to say, but other than that, there's not really too much I can really say about them. Now in these scenes we do get to see these characters fighting against all the samurais and stuff like that, and again, not really too much I can really say here, just because they're like seen for like a few seconds and stuff like that, but not really much really happens here. I mean, I know they do see them fighting and all that, but at the same time, I'm not too sure what I can really say about it. It was just there, but great. Okay, and then going on to the next bit, which I have to say is probably the more interesting thing, which I don't know if it makes me angry or not with how they handled it, but with how they did do it in this issue, it was somewhat interesting. Okay, so the bit that we're talking about is the scene where we do get to see the turtles go into whenwhere's castle, fight the samurais, and stop him. Okay, so the actual fight itself, I thought it was okay, I want to say. We just get to see these samurais come in, which are now bigger, badder, stronger, and all that. And they're fighting with turtles and Usagi, all of them having like real hard time fighting them. And I thought, but this bit was okay, I want to say. Not really like anything too special about it. And it just felt so underwhelming and anticlimactic, just because I expected them to, at least fight these characters and then defeat them and then go on to when. But in this battle, we don't even get to see them fight when, which I do think was a big missed opportunity, just because it was the big bad which they was leading up to, and then nothing. So I do feel as though like there was a lot of wasted potential with when. Just feels as though that he was there but then was never really used. Okay, and then for the next scene, which I must admit I'm somewhat a little bit mad at, just because of what they did in the scene, but at the same time I don't understand it just because of what they didn't do in the scene. Okay, so in this scene we do get to see Richie go over to the computer, and he's the only one who's able to stop it. So then that's when he comes up with the idea to basically put his sword into the computer and turn it off that way. And basically Richie dies, and I must admit with this bit here, now I am a little bit mad just because it just feels though that this bit here was really stupid, just killing off the character for no real reason whatsoever. And it just feels so that it was just like such a pointless death. I mean, this bit here didn't really have too much of a shock value, but I thought it was okay. But again, I do find it like really annoying just because they kill off a character for no real reason whatsoever in a really stupid way. But at the same time, because of like this time period and stuff like that, and which you probably won't know about computers and stuff like that, it does make sense why she would die like this and why she wouldn't know how to do it. But I just feel as though like there was ways they could have gone around this to make the death a bit more impactful, something like that, and maybe even ways to actually stop it. I mean, like getting Dontalu or Maki to help stop it, but nothing really comes of it. It's just, and basically they let him die, and that's find it really stupid. But then after that, we do get to see Leonardo cut off Wen's hand, and Wen somehow goes into a timeline, and he's just stuck there. And again, I just feel as though that Wen was a really wasted villain. I feel as though that he had potential to do something, but in this series, he just didn't do anything whatsoever. It felt so pointless him being in this series. So yeah. But then we do get to see the turtles. They do go home, and there's not really much I really say there. They turn basically to the minute which turtles left, and they want to go get sushi. Yeah, there's not really too much I can really say there. It's something that happened, and yeah. And then for the last bit of Usagi Yojimbo, we do get to see Usagi carry Yuichi's body through the town, and yeah, again, not really too much to really say here, but again, it happened. And then it was a little epilogue bit where we do get to see this person comes in, I think it was a girl, and she's blindfolded. I think she might be in the character from issue number 4, but I'm not too sure, so maybe she is, maybe she isn't. And she kills some bandits, and that's pretty much where they do leave this story off. And they do set things up for maybe like the sequel, or maybe future storylines in Usagi Yojimbo. I'm not too sure which one it is, but either way, that's happening sometime. So yeah, I don't really know if they're going to be making a third tmnt and Usagi Yojimbo crossover with the RW Turtles. I like to think that they will, just because I do feel like there is more stories to be told with these Turtles and Usagi Yojimbo. So I would like them to do more crossover stuff, but at the same time, I'm not too sure if they will or not, but I would like them to. But yeah, I must admit, overall, this whole series has been pretty interesting. I feel that this series has been pretty good for the most part, and I do think that this series did have the time it needed to really do a lot of really interesting things in terms of doing stuff with Usagi Yojimbo and Turtles. At the same time, I do feel that there was a lot of Usagi Yojimbo characters, but I did feel like, I want to say a little bit crowded, and there wasn't really too much focus on Usagi Yojimbo. And then even with like some of the stuff which I did do in this whole series, I just feel that the pacing was really off with this. And I know that like Stan Sakai, he's like a really great like writer and stuff like that. So it's like really surprising that this isn't really some of his best work. But yeah. But yeah, I must admit, overall, this whole issue has been pretty great for the most part. I do feel that maybe this issue could have been, I want to say longer, and maybe put into like a 2-issue type thing, because I do feel that the whole story was really rushed, and that's a real shame, just because, again, I was enjoying this series for the most part. But then when you do get into the final bits with Yuichi and stuff like that, and we don't do anything with like where, when, I do feel that some of the problems do really shine in this issue, and again, that's a real shame, just because I really want to like this issue, but there's so many problems with this one that maybe go, okay, maybe Stan Sakai maybe it's lost his touch. But again, I don't really want to say that, just because I really enjoyed like stuff which I've read from like Stan Sakai, so I do have hope and faith that maybe one day, if he does get to write another total crossover, he will be able to do a lot better with more justice. But at the same time, you just never know. But oh god, this one's going to be pretty interesting to really hear what people have to say about it, because of what happened, really. But yeah, let me know in the comment section below what you think about this issue. Do you like it? Did you not? I've got a feeling that like most people are probably going to say that they did like it, but maybe they thought it was a bit too rushed or something like that. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today, guys. If you enjoyed something, please share, like, subscribe, and all that stuff. Goodbye, yo, bye.